Hello everyone! I wanted to share with you guys the life story of one of my absolute favorite lovebirds. He's a black and gray double dark factor peach-faced lovebird. I named him Crow a while back. He was always really special to me because I bought him when he was just a brand new baby. He was the smallest in his flock, and a lot of the times the other birds would bully him because he couldn't fly very well. His owner clipped his wings when he was a baby just like he does whenever he has a clutch of birds hatch. But for this one, his flight wings didn't grow back like the other birds did. For him, only one set of his flight wings grew back, so he just had a short wing on the other side, which made so he couldn't fly very well at all. All the other birds would bully him because he couldn't fly very well, and every time I set out seeds for them to eat, then he was always the last one to eat his food because the other ones would bully him into avoiding the dish unless nobody was around. This made me really sad because I thought that his wings would grow back just like the other birds, but the one side didn't end up growing back. When I ended up bringing them indoors for the cold season, I decided to separate him from all the other birds and put him with my very first lovebird, which was this bright yellow that I made a video about. So at first I didn't know whether this was a male or female, so I put him with this yellow one to try to see if I could get a pair, a black and yellow pair. These two got along really well, and they ended up becoming best friends. The yellow one was around 5 years old, and he was just a little baby, just a few weeks old. And they were best friends. The yellow one took really good care of him, and he would always help him to get food when he needed, and made sure he had a nice place to stay at night. As I started to watch their behavior together, I started to wonder if they were actually both males instead of one male and one female. And once the next spring came along, I confirmed my suspicions when I set all my birds in my outdoor aviary, and right off the bat within the first 2 days, they both split up and found a partner. The yellow one paired with this light green one, and the black and gray paired with this green and red one. So I instantly knew that they were both males. Oh, and I was super happy for this little guy because once I put him in the big outdoor aviary, I noticed that he can fly normally just like all the other ones have. His short wing ended up growing back, and he was completely normal, happy, and healthy again. At the time, I was taking in a lot of birds, and I was also selling a lot. So I was going in and out of the aviary, putting in and taking away a lot of the birds. I didn't know this at the time, but this was disrupting them from wanting to breed, so I ended up learning this too late in the season for them to have a good, successful batch of lovebirds. So when I ended up figuring out what the issue was, I took away all the birds that I didn't want to keep, and then left the birds that I wanted to breed in the aviary. And immediately, all my birds got to work in building their nests. Now this black and gray, I would always notice him going and gathering seeds and come back and feeding his partner. So I could tell he was very special, and he was really good at taking care of his family. It was starting to get too cold for them to stay outside, so right as I was about to take down the nests and bring them inside for the cold season, I noticed in these birds' nests there was 2 little eggs that she had laid. I wanted to be careful and not disturb them, but I instantly knew that they were fertile because of how hard they were working to build their nest. In the end, they ended up laying 5 eggs in total, and I think all of them hatched except for one. But I was really sad because it was too late in the season for them to raise good, healthy lovebirds because it got too cold for them to survive about a week after they hatched. So I ended up bringing them inside for the winter, taking everything that I learned into consideration. Now, around this time, I was looking around to adopt a couple other lovebirds, and I ended up stumbling upon this bright red and yellow firecracker. She was super aggressive, and she was very headstrong when it came to getting what she wanted. She didn't get along with any of my other birds, but surprisingly, she actually really loved this black and gray. She spent as much time as she could with him, and she didn't like when other birds spent time with him. So even though he did already have a partner, she did pick him, and she was going to be with him no matter what. I didn't expect him to actually break up with this green and red one until I put him out in the big aviary the next season and found that he's been staying with this red and yellow at night. So that was something very interesting about lovebirds that I'd never seen before. Well, close to the beginning of this season, I actually lost a number of my birds, and she was one of the ones that got sick and didn't survive. So, not only did he break up with his previous partner to be with her, now he lost this partner, and I was very sad for him. Well, it didn't take him very long to find interest in this dark green and orange female. He ended up liking her a whole bunch, and he didn't go back to his previous partner that he had last season. He ended up staying with her and pairing with her. And I was super excited to find out that the female had laid eggs and they were starting a new family together. I checked their eggs to see if they were viable, and they were actually fertile, so I was super excited. As her eggs started to hatch, I knew that she was a new mom, so I knew that she wasn't going to be able to take care of all of them. But she seemed to do a really good job with what she had. All 5 of her eggs did end up hatching, but I guess she was only able to take care of one of them. And she did a really good job at doing that. His birthday was on July 14th, and he left the nest about 4 weeks after that. I was super happy to finally have an actual live baby lovebird hatch and grow up happy and healthy. And I was really glad that it was from this black and gray, because he has always been one of my favorite lovebirds. Everything seemed to be going perfectly, and from what I can tell, all my birds were super happy until one morning I came outside to check on my aviary, and I found my black and gray lovebird laying on the ground. He had passed away overnight. I don't understand how this could have happened, because he was super happy and he was super healthy. He was always coming down to gather food and bringing it back up to his new little baby, and it was just something that was very unexpected for me and very disappointing. It was a very sad time for me, but I was actually very content and very positive about the whole situation, because I was just happy that he was able to have an offspring and to have a little baby chick of his own that looks just like him. I don't know whether or not he's a boy or girl, but he just looks just like his dad, and I'm super happy to have had the experience of hatching a baby chick and having it grow up and be healthy. Anyways, I'm super excited for the future, because I have a lot more things in store for my birds, and I always like to stay on the positive side of life, and I'd like to encourage you all to do the same, to get outside, enjoy nature, enjoy the world, just enjoy life, and make something good of yourself. So goodbye, and as always, have a lovely day.